Why would writer Proverbs say in chapter 5, he says, why waste your seed in the streets? Enjoy your wife's breast. Enjoy the wife of your youth and her breast. He specifically mentions breast. And so I think we are hung up on stuff that God ain't hung up on. I think we make a big deal out of nothing because of these puritanistic ways that were imported from European settlers who, when they embraced African people from Africa and they saw us naked without shame, they came and induced shame on us and threw clothes on us and stole our land and made it slaves out of us. We have not had agency over our own bodies as Africans in America. And so I think it's important to go back and re-embrace our cultural identity where we were naked and without shame. It's not a big deal if you go to Africa. Some parts of Africa in rural places, women are openly breastfeeding because it's not a big issue. Westerners have made over-sexualized. And then we swing the pendulum. When you get to America, the pendulum swings to the other side to where freakiness is associated with all things dark and all things kink. That's not what freakiness is. I love what you begin to say. You said freakiness, the first F I think about is free. When you are freaky, you are not locked into other people's rigid understandings, restrictive understandings of what sex can be.
As you were saying, the word freaky, and I'm thinking of the negative, connotation that comes with that. What is a word that we could use in its place?
Explorative.
Okay.
Curious. Creative. Free. And when you are in touch with your sexuality, that's nothing to be ashamed about. Because God created us sexual beings. And when a man and woman who are in a covenant relationship come together and consummate their marriage, it is the most beautiful thing of becoming one. It's a spiritual experience, but it also is a physiological experience that releases dopamine and other pleasant sensory activity that unites those two couples, and it's ecstasy. A lot of times when people are making love, they'll say, oh God, because of the ecstasy that comes along with it. There is something about that union. And then Song of Solomon, as you said, is erotic poetry. The problem is people cannot shift from sex is bad to sex is a blessing. I think that's the paradigm shift that Christians have to take today. Sex is a blessing. It's not a bad thing. It's not bad. And we have to grill that back into our heads and take away the shame from it. I know we wrote this book back in 2007. It was received with mixed reviews, and people like, why are they talking about sex from the pulpit? They're pastors. She's a first lady. Why not? God meant this to help save our marriage. Marriages are not just about, sex is not just about procreation. It's also about recreation. It's a way that we bond spiritually.
And it's that covenant between a husband and a wife that bonds them closer together. As you were saying, that dopamine release that takes place when we're in ecstasy, we're receiving pleasure, and that bonds us together on such a spiritual and emotional field.
Yeah. And you just want to bask in that moment.